please stay right where you are because it's time for GeorgiaCarry.org Radio with Doug and Jesse King. GeorgiaCarry.org is Georgia's no-compromise voice for gun owners. Stay tuned for valuable information on protecting your Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. And now, your hosts for GeorgiaCarry.org Radio, Doug and Jesse King.
Good morning, everybody. You're listening to GeorgiaCarry.org Radio, and we are in studio today with this very special guest. We have Mark Gilbert. Now, for those of you who do not know Mr. Gilbert, he is a very prominent poster at GeorgiaPacking.org. He is at all of the Georgia area conventions when they do the local shoots and the local groups, and the local meetings and the festivals. He is always there lending a hand and helping out, and he has a very unique background. And what he does is he goes around to all of the local restaurants and tests the waters for us to see if we're going to be allowed to carry there or get kicked out, and he also tests the food. So today will be our culinary episode where we learn about great restaurants in Atlanta that have good food that are friendly or not so friendly for carry. Now Mr. Gilbert is a longtime Atlanta resident. I think his family goes back to before the Civil War, and you can tell from his accent that he's a Southern gentleman. So Mr. Gilbert, welcome to GeorgiaCarry.org Radio.
Thank you, Doug and Jesse.
We're glad to have you here. So do you go into the restaurants and see if they're going to kick you out? Is that true?
I don't go looking to get kicked out, but I do go in, and if I'm dressed for a restaurant, I have a zookeeper holster, and it's very obvious what it is, and no one's ever told me to leave yet.
So your little tiny Derringer doesn't get noticed very much? Is that what you're telling us?
Little tiny Derringer?
I don't carry a Derringer, Doug. I carry a real gun.
But what do you carry?
I carry a Glock 30S.
I thought you said you carried a real gun.
Doug King, shame on you.
Oh, that was a good setup. I walked him right into that one. You saw.
Doug's a 1911 man.
Well, if you like rest buckets, what do you care?
So you've visited a lot of restaurants, and I know that you comment all the time. Now, there's a website that you comment on that has where you can see what restaurants are friendly, right?
Yes, sir. I don't remember the name. I have to look at my cell phone.
It's okay.
We're going to say that Mark's a little bit nervous about being on the radio with us this morning, but it's okay.
Well, we're such an intimidating pair, you and I, when we start grilling people about,
He's heard our conversations with Representative Dexter
Sharper
yeah.
and Mideast Peace and everything else that we throw at people.
Oh, that brings back a story of the first time I was ever on the radio with Doug. He used to do a different show, and I came on talking about cheese making. And I said, I was so nervous. I really was. It was my first time on the radio. And I said, don't throw me any hardball questions. And the first thing he says is, so, first question, what do you think of the Middle East peace talks? And I'm like, forget you, man. I was so mad.
So, Mark, what website do you post on that has reviews?
2A Friendly.
2A Friendly. Okay, so it's the number 2, the letter A, the word friendly.com, and you can go there to see all of these reviews of local restaurants. So, tell me, where have you been treated the best when you go to a restaurant?
Well, Chin Chin and Peachtree in Brookhaven is a Chinese restaurant. The management there loves me there. They always want me to open carry.
Okay.
The waitress always, her name is Denise. Her real name I can't pronounce because it's Korean, but she's a fantastic lady. I call her husband's Billy. The food here is great. Prices are reasonable. You go home full.
Okay.
They don't have chocolate ice cream though.
That's something I'm always looking for, is a restaurant that I can go home full from.
Which is a real feat with Doug.
The prices are very reasonable. They don't charge an arm and a leg, only one arm, not a leg.
Okay, well, what do you order when you're there?
I've ordered everything there. From the pork fried rice to the Colonel Chow's chicken to the spicy beef. It was tangerine beef.
Okay,
very good.
Very good.
I've also open carried in non-restaurant, and
now that's an Indian restaurant, right?
No, it's Thai.
Thai. Okay.
They've asked me if I would keep it concealed, and I said no problem. They could have asked me to leave, which would have really upset me, but they said as long as you keep it covered, we'd have no problem, and that's fine for me because it's private property.
Right. And that's something that, we've gone back and forth on here a lot. I mean, we've had a previous show where we had another Georgia Carry member, and Mark is a longtime GeorgiaCarry.org member, but we had another member who was on his own private property, and he lost his garbage service over carrying on his own property. But we try to juxtapose these two issues where private property rights, where do they begin and end, and what do we want out of private business owners? And I know that, the kind of standard line is, well, if you don't want us there, then we don't want to spend our money with you. So it's a win-win situation for everybody.
Well, I'm like, if I don't have the right to exercise my rights in your establishment, then you don't have the right to get any of my money.
Right.
That's the way I feel about it.
And I think that's, the way most people feel. But, there's also the thought of down the road at some point, you got to stand up for your civil rights. I mean, if during the civil rights movement in the 60s, the answer was, well, we just won't take your bus. What good would that have done anybody in the long term? So part of this is right now, making kind of the concessions we need to keep everybody happy, but also looking long term is, either our ultimate goal is if you don't want us in your establishment with our gun, we'd like to see you go out of business. That's what we're saying when we don't spend money.
And ultimately that could happen because when they don't want to see us in their establishment, then who they end up seeing next is the thug that's got a gun that robs them.
Well, look at Baltimore.
Yeah.
Gun-free state.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that city's gun-free. I'm sorry. I'm not the one who invented it saying, but without the Second Amendment, you won't have the First Amendment. You won't have any other amendments. When you have only the government weapons, you have tyranny.
When only the government has weapons, there's tyranny. And that's going to lead us in at the end of our show. We've got some really interesting good, bad, and the ugly this week for all of you folks listening. And I think that we're going to loop back around to the idea of, what government needs what weaponry. But, we started off talking about restaurants and the ones that we want to kind of drive out of business versus the ones that we want to see prosper and do well. And I have some friends who own restaurants. I think the Red Eyed Mule in Marietta is one of the most fantastic restaurants around. I mean, it's got
also gun friendly too, right?
It is, and they've gotten high marks from Food Network, and Alton Brown has good things to say about them. And these are people who are gun friendly. I know Mr. Brown is gun friendly, and we love his shows. So tying in guns and food, which are my two most favorite topics in life, are guns and food. Here we have an opportunity to really delve into where should we go in Atlanta, and so we've got Chin Chin down, and you said that was in Buckhead?
Buckhead and Brookhaven Mall.
Brookhaven, yeah.
Now, we went to the Vortex with Mark,
yes.
And they were gun-friendly, weren't they? But not during bar hours, just during lunch hours.
No, any hours.
Oh, really?
You can carry in bars here in Georgia. They're no different than restaurants. Also, there's a colonnade on Cheshire Bridge. It's been around since 1927. They're gun-friendly.
Let's talk about the Vortex for a minute, because all three of us went to the Vortex together. So this gives us a good opportunity to compare one restaurant and the experience we had. Now, when I went to the Vortex, it was afternoon. Mm-hmm. We had just finished recording a show here, and Mark agreed to meet us over there. And I thought that the food there was pretty good. I mean, it wasn't stand out, and I had one of their medium-sized burgers, and
there was too much blue cheese on my burger. It was pretty gross.
You didn't have a medium. You had a super large burger.
He ordered the biggest burger they had,
and he ate it in 10 minutes. Was gone.
And it had 3 eggs and French fries and all kinds of stuff on it.
It had everything but the kitchen sink on it, and I think the kitchen sink was in there.
It was not that large of a burger because, like I said, I cleared it off in less than 10 minutes. So. It was a fine specimen for a medium-sized burger.
What he calls a medium-sized burger is a burger that me or you could not eat.
I know. I looked at it and said, oh,
It was 4 slices of cheese, a pound of meat, and 8 slices of bacon or something?
And eggs.
And eggs.
And grilled cheese sandwiches?
And it was made between 2 grilled cheese sandwiches. It was a pretty big burger.
Yeah,
that was a snack for you, right, Doug?
I wondered what we were going to eat when we left.
Just stuff a toothpick in it and let it bite it one bite right off the toothpick.
But it was the people there are friendly,
They were. I mean, and it is a bar, and it's not. You can't bring your kids there at all.
You would not want to take your child in there because they have a statue at the front door that I wouldn't want my kids to see.
Yeah, very, very. Yeah,
it was a little phallic.
There you go. So, the Vortex is an interesting bar that serves food.
Right.
And since Georgia Carry was able to change the laws to allow us to carry in bars, it became a place that at least Georgia Carry members are allowed to visit again.
Right, and that, and you got.
Hey, Mark, were you there for the big House Bill 89 party at Christo's? Did you come to that? Way back when, back in 2000?
Christo's up in
Marietta?
Yes, I was there. I couldn't think of the name of the place. Mm-hmm. Thank you. No, I know to go back again.
Doug is the one that set this whole thing up.
Yeah, I have pictures of that.
And that restaurant went out of business. The owner died.
Oh.
And the family split up, and part of the family wanted to keep it going, and the other part of the family wanted to loot it, and so they created a new restaurant, which is also called Christo's, but it's like Christo's Bistro or something else, and they moved down the street a few blocks, and they still serve gyros, but they're a little bit more high class now, and I haven't been there since they...
There's a restaurant, pizza place up on Windy Hill Road. It's called New York Pizza, and they're very friendly to guns, because I've opened carry there without even thinking about it. And the slice of pizza, I ordered 2 slices, which if I saw the size of the pizza, I would only go to order 1 slice. It filled the dinner plate.
Wow.
And almost as good as New York's pizza. I mean, down here we don't get the pizza as good as you can get up north. Us Yankees, I can testify to that. But
see, I'm Midwestern, so I'm more Chicago style. I want pizza that you eat with a fork and a knife, where it's got a ton of toppings and then the sauce drizzled on top. That's more my style. This big floppy piece of bread, man.
And if you go to...
I didn't buy a pizza for the bread. If I wanted bread, I would have got a loaf of bread.
And see, I'm all about that real thick crust Sicilian type. Oh, my gosh, with the balsamic dribbled over the crust before they make the pizza. That is the best.
Now, Jesse, you used to work in a pizza joint, so...
Yeah, well, I managed a Pizza Hut in my early 20s, and I was a waitress at a real Italian joint that was owned by Sicilians in my teen years.
We're talking real Italians.
Real Italians. They were from Sicily.
The kinds that give you Italian neckties if you don't pay attention.
Yeah, I know the ones like that. I've eaten ones in like that in New Jersey.
And they didn't have any problem with concealed carry there, did they?
No.
Well, folks, we are at a commercial break, so we'll be right back in just a minute. You're listening to GeorgiaCarry.org radio.
And now, back to GeorgiaCarry.org radio with Doug and Jesse King.
We're back, everybody, and so this week we're talking about restaurants and good food in Atlanta where you can carry your gun. And I want to point out one place that I enjoy, but is the most un-gun-friendly place that I've ever been. Have you ever trekked over to the DeKalb County Farmers Market?
Oh,
yes, wow. I have.
Isn't that an amazing place?
Yes, it is.
And what is wrong with those people?
They're jerks.
They're DeKalb County. They're above the law. Look at I want to go off the subject, but if you looked at their probate court actions about gun licenses, you'd see what they're doing, and we need to do something about them again.
I mean, it's a shame. And DeKalb County and it's DeKalb for everyone listening outside the state. There was an episode of The West Wing where they kept calling it DeKalb.
Yes.
I found that just hilarious. Anyway, DeKalb County is just outside of Atlanta. I mean, it's inside the perimeter. It's really a part of Atlanta, but it's a separate county. And they do their own thing down there, and the court system is a little bit different, and the jury system is really different, and they don't seem to take mind. And here's the DeKalb County Farmers Market. Now, it is
privately owned.
It's privately owned. It's not DeKalb County owned. It just kind of pretends to be. But they have the right to ban weapons, and they've got signs all up everywhere you look. It's like they've got hundreds of them.
Yes, but they got the greatest food selections,
Oh my gosh, they have bread I've never heard of.
Well, I used to work for an air conditioning company, and we installed all the air conditioning units. And when we had a yearly thing, and to go back monthly checkout, and part of it, I used to go by the roll area, and the guy said, anytime you want to roll, it's help yourself.
Wow. Well, I used to live over there. I would love to go and get their 20 or 50% off day old, and they'd have the croissants that were stuffed with, blueberries and blackberries and chocolate. Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing, and it's huge. I mean, it's like 3 times the size of a Sam's Club.
Yes.
It's a huge building, and it's wonderful, but again, very un-gun friendly and towards the people that shouldn't be. And that's another place that I think that, we've got so many members in Metro Atlanta that we could bring some pressure to bear to say, hey, we want to be included too. Why don't you, change your policy so that people with licenses are allowed here, where people who are not licensed aren't?
Because they don't want the guns there at all. But see, what happens then is where their registers are, it's real easy to just walk up in there and walk back out. They're going to eventually get robbed for every bit of cash they have there, and it's going to be quite a bit of cash because that place is busy. And
it's a very high cash volume. I mean, there's a lot of immigrants who don't use banks there, and I mean, it's a very high cash place. And you're going. What my fear is people know that people are going in there carrying large amounts of cash in the parking lot. Once you get in the building, I mean, you have to go in one doors and you have to go through like a little cubby hole to get in where the cash registers are, and then there's only one exit. I can see how they designed this to make it harder to rob, but for the people who are walking in on their own, particularly, in the wintertime when it gets dark at 5:30, you know that they're carrying cash and they're easy pickings, and they're not going to do anything to help or defend you. You got to do it yourself.
And remember, it's not the policeman's job to protect you.
That's right. I know that better than anybody. Trust me. So, there we've got an interesting juxtaposition. Now, that's more like a grocery store. They do have a restaurant in there that you can go through and get stuff by the pound, and it's amazing food. But there's a lot of places here. Have you ventured very far outside of Atlanta, Mark?
Sandy Springs. I go to a place called the Brickery.
Okay.
It's kosher style. It's not, it's like a younger version of AARP restaurants.
Okay.
That's my sister's view, and I agree. But the food is excellent. Uh-huh. They got ribs to die for. They just falls off, and the meat just falls off in your mouth. It melts.
Oh.
And if you're a preferred customer by filling out a card, you get a discount. It's not posted. The real price for preferred customers is not on the menu. You tell them, I'm a preferred customer, and when you get your bill, it might be said like in a steak for $25. You get it for $18 or $17 in big portions. It's a very nice place. The owners are fantastic.
And how do they treat you when you open carry?
Well, I don't open copy there because the owner asked me if I would conceal it there. And since, again, he could have said, Mr. Gilbert, please leave your gun in the car. Then it means I would not go in there because I'm not leaving my gun in the car for the thug to steal it. It's because my car, if anybody knows me, yells weapon.
Gun, yeah.
So I as they asked me to, and I conceal it, and they're very happy with that. They always see me so I can see the door. I'm very paranoid with sitting with my back to a door. I won't sit with my back to a door.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good practice, too.
IHOPs have never bothered me. I've opened carry in every IHOP in Atlanta and in areas.
So what about the restaurant that reminds us so much of the Gold Dome, serving up legislation smothered, covered in
McDonald's? I never have a problem there. I've always open carried there.
I think Doug was referring to the House of Waffles.
Oh, excuse me. Well,
Casa de Waffle.
Okay, the Waffle House. Yes, it does have signs. If you look, you have to look for it. It says no weapons allowed. But I've opened and carried in every Waffle House in Georgia, practically, except one that had a sign right in front of my face. Since I had to see that sign, I couldn't ignore it. Mm-hmm. And I've had managers say to me, one told me, I'm supposed to tell you to remove that weapon. So I said to him very nicely, do you want me to leave? Because my weapon goes, I go. He said, no, I'd rather have you here knowing I'm safe and you're going to keep me safe than somebody I don't know that hides his weapon because he's not legal.
And this is another interesting problem. I mean,
it's actually an example of where the management seems to have more common sense about firearms most of the time than the owners of businesses.
Well, the managers are there day in, day out, see the type of customers who come in, see the problems that arise. The owners don't really come in and they don't know, they don't care. That's been my experience. And so when you're dealing with, a corporation or absentee owners, it's hard to get them to realize, who the good people are and who the bad people are.
Well, you remember what happened a few years ago at Waffle House. One of our members got banned for life.
Yeah. Do you know that story?
Yes, I wasn't there but it was up in Kennesaw, I believe, and one of our members was open carrying. These so-called nice people started walking in, saw him opening carrying. They left because they didn't want to go there, and they got pulled over very few miles on the road. And they told the law officer that they were going to rob that place, but since they saw a man carrying a gun there, they felt they might got hurt. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, what the Waffle House higher powers to be heard about that, they banned our member and they fired the cook for not telling him to leave.
They banned our member for just by being there and stopping a robbery. He didn't even do anything except for his presence there with a firearm. stopped the robbery, and they banned the member. That has to be the most asinine bucket of junk I've ever heard.
Well, they have the rectal cranial insertion problem.
Well,
they got their heads up their butts.
Yeah.
I said it.
I didn't. I watched myself.
You've been very good today, Mark, and we appreciate that, and so does the FCC.
Yes, big brother.
Well, and I can't punish an individual Waffle House for the corporate mantra of that they don't want guns on their premises when it is, a good choice, especially for my family. My son asked to go to Waffle House before school. And
the deal with this is his son is the pickiest eater I've ever met in my life. The poor kid has like 4 food groups: pizza, burgers, waffles, and now chicken nuggets, thank God.
And biscuits.
Oh, biscuits, the fifth.
Yes, Doc, I was at
the fifth
I was down at a Waffle House in Stockbridge. Because my sister had a doctor's appointment down there.
I know Stockbridge. It's the place where the 75 slows down for no explicable reason every single time.
And they had a sign right on the door saying no weapons allowed. So I told my sister, who's my favorite one, I have 2 sisters. I love them both equally.
Nice save there, Mark.
And I said, we can't eat here. And she said, why? I said, the sign says so. I said, well, it's in my face, and I'm not going to support that Waffle House. We went down the next exit on 75 going north, and went to the Waffle House there, and the sign wasn't in the door. I sat, and again, I was open carrying, and they said, how are you? I said, fine. They said, sit down anywhere you like, and I got the best service, the best food, at a reasonable price.
Yeah. Well,
it's fresh.
Their $5 menu is really pretty good. You actually can get a sit-down meal for $5.
I had a waffle with 2 eggs and coffee for $5. Well, coffee was extra, so I had a great meal.
Well, something about Waffle House we just realized, Doug and I recently, is that not all of them are corporate owned. Some of them are franchised.
True.
And so, it depends on whether it's franchised or corporate owned as to who's making the decision of whether we can carry in there or not.
Well, the franchisees are bound by the corporate rule of not having weapons. But I think that the corporate stores put the sign up in the corner, and the franchisees tend to either not put it up at all or put it out right smack dab in the front of the door.
Like I say, I've never been told to leave a Waffle House yet.
So we are coming up on another commercial break, folks. You are listening to GeorgiaCarry.org radio right here in your local station. When we come back, we're going to hit up another couple of restaurants with Mr. Gilbert, and then we'll be rolling into the good, the bad, and the ugly in our final segment.
Now, back to GeorgiaCarry.org radio with Doug and Jesse King.
Welcome back, everybody. So we've been talking about some good restaurants to hit in the Atlanta area, and I know this is kind of a geographic-centric show. We have not been able to branch out because Mr. Gilbert, hasn't traveled too far afield for some of these restaurants, but Jesse and I have.
Weren't you in Dahlonega the other day?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Bourbon Street in the square. Reasonable prices. And if you like Cajun food, and it's a great food place to eat, and it's really nice. They have a back deck area, so if you bring your dog with you, you can bring your dog to the restaurant and be on the back porch.
I'm not taking my dog to the restaurant.
And they give you what's really nice. They give you a water dish for the dog, and it's very friendly, gun friendly there.
Well, that's cool. Dahlonega is a nice place. I always like to go up to Dahlonega when I want to get away and see people who are just enjoying something a little more simple and
I go there every weekend.
Not so
get away.
complicated.
Isn't that where the Gold Mine restaurant is?
Yes.
I want to go in there and chip something off their wall.
Well, they actually have a pit where you can see where they dug the gold out underneath the restaurant. That restaurant, I don't know if they're carry friendly or not.
I've never been to it, so I can't.
I would not really advise that as one of my top destinations.
I've been almost to restaurants on the square there. There's a pizza place, and forgive me, I can't remember the name, but it's right in the square, and it's got one of the best pizzas I ever had in my life in this area.
I've been there. I went there with my friend Jeremy, who's a district attorney up there, and he recommended it, and it was very good.
We were there last weekend, and we had the kitchen sink.
Were they carry friendly?
I open carried there, and no one ran out screaming. No one died and grabbed the children.
So this website you go to, 2afriendly.com,
right.
You go in there and you rate the restaurants on there. Are there other people doing the same thing
yes.
as well? So if I was to visit another state, say I'll go to Virginia where my dad lives, can I find out there where we can open carry? And
yes, you can. On the site, the site itself says you can go there and research I go there and I post about that. That's the only reason why I use that site. I think it's fair. It gives you the ability to say yes, it's for open friendly, or I carry there concealed, or very unfriendly. They wouldn't let me in.
There's no reciprocity between Georgia and Virginia, which really upsets me because my dad lives in Virginia. So I found out the other day that apparently you can get a Virginia non-resident, so I'm checking into that now.
That would be awesome. I think that you should do that, Jess.
Well, we're hoping South Carolina wakes up one of these days.
It looks like that's on the path.
It's going to die again.
Well, don't say that. Cross your fingers.
I just know it's going to die again.
Don't be so negative, Mark. We got to have some faith here that the good
okay,
people...
I'm positive it's going to die again.
Okay, well, you know what? If the people that were fighting for gay marriage rights had said it's going to die, we might as well just give up. It's going to die again. They would have never passed what they passed and where they are today. So what I've got to say, we can learn from their movement.
True.
And say, if we have a little faith, it may take a little more time than we'd like it to, but eventually things will work out.
Well, I'm just glad we have Georgia Carey here. I'm a little biased, I admit it.
If it wasn't for Georgia Carey, we wouldn't have the rights we have in this state.
Exactly right. Can you imagine going to the airport?
I can imagine. I've been there.
I have too, and I got the first time I carried there, I got arrested.
You got arrested?
Harassed, not arrested.
Oh, okay.
Harassed.
Yeah, and it's, really has been a game changer. And I think that everybody who's listening to this broadcast, I know most of our listeners are Georgia Carey members, but there are a lot of people out there who've been turned on to this or happen to be listening on their local station and heard, the culinary gun hour, decided to stick around to hear our discussion. And if you like guns, if you like the idea of freedom, if you like the idea
of food,
you should join GeorgiaCarey.org, because there's nothing that's more gun and food friendly than the way GeorgiaCarey.org's local chapter meetings work.
Most of the local chapter meetings happen at restaurants.
True.
Well, the last North meeting was at the U.S. Diner.
U.S. Cafe.
U.S. Cafe.
You had a different
I had to go to the Tea Party meeting.
Yeah.
By the way, the Flying Machine in Lawrenceville on the airport is gun-friendly. Good food, great prices, and you can watch planes. Like, I'm a kid at heart when it comes to planes. I like watching planes take off and land. Mm-hmm. And they are very gun-friendly. Hi, Thor, and the food is great.
There we go. Shout out to Thor from Sheldon over here, who loves his planes. So, we've got some really great restaurants, and the local chapter meetings meet at restaurants. I know that we have been twisting the arm of the Valdosta Club to meet at Mama June's again. We
have to say Williamson Brothers Barbecue was gun friendly.
Yes.
Very.
Yeah, we had a big meeting there years ago. We filled the place up, and I've gone there on my own and meet some of our members there. And I've always open carry there. And no one, like I say, no one ever goes screaming.
They're very calm about it.
Right.
It's not a big deal to them.
And we had a meeting there recently with North Chapter had a meeting there.
Didn't the Valdosta chapter meet at Smoke and Pig?
No, it was not Smoking Pig. It was a different...
the one we went to was the steakhouse.
They've had meetings at the Smoking Pig before. So Smoking Pig is...
I'm trying to branch out a little bit.
Or was it Mama June's? I think it was Mama June's.
The very first one was Mama June's, but I know that they've been to the Smoking Pig. So Smoking Pig and Mama June's are owned by the same...
If you're ever down Valdosta way, check out a restaurant called the Smoking Pig.
Mark.
It's the best barbecue I've ever had in my mouth.
Well, I'm driving to Florida this summer. Maybe I'll get by it.
That's so good. Try to plan it around like lunchtime and go into the Smoking Pig. You get a salad, you get a dessert, and you get whatever you order. Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Their prime rib sandwich was to die for.
It melts in your mouth.
Yeah. And the ribs are good. And the scary thing is, if you continue on past the Smoking Pig and go into town, there's an old Ryan's building that's been converted, and it's called Mama June's. It's run by the same people. They have the same chefs, but it's now all you can eat. So you can get all you can eat ribs on Sunday for like $15. And it's not just ribs, but it's every kind of side that you can imagine. All the collard greens.
Ribs?
Sundays they have ribs.
Where's the ribs?
On the bar up front where the steaks and the ham usually is.
That's not...
I call for a road trip.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm hungry.
I'm starving. This conversation is
recording this early in the morning will really get you.
For sure.
Glad I had my Slim Fast
If you
shake.
like Thai food, is Naan on 17th Street. I have never open carried there, but again, the bulge on my side of my hip is they know what it is, and they've never asked me what it is. Of course, I think they think, well, it ain't hurting me. Why hurt them? But the food is excellent, and they have a sub branch called Tuk Tuk. It's on Peachtree, right near where there used to be the Jewish temple, which is further down the road. But the community center used to be right there. And I open carry there, and they had no problem that night. I haven't been back since because it was only a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now, have you ever had anybody just really react badly to you open carrying?
Oh, yes. So let's go back to a Father's Day 2 years ago. My sister was divorced, and I'm divorced. We go out together a lot. She has a high-end expense taste for food. I'm a hamburger guy.
Your sister's Denise, right?
No, my sister's name is Julie Cohn.
Julie, okay.
We went to a Outback restaurant on Father's Day. So I sat down, my sister sat down, I ordered my martini, and there's a couple next to us with her family, and I raised my drink to the man. I said, Happy Father's Day, try to be polite. And about 10 minutes later, I see this Atlanta cop walk in, and I go to my sister and said, uh-oh. She says, what's the matter? I said, something's going on. So the officer walked up to the guy, and he says, pointed at me and said, screaming, that man's got a gun. And the cop says, and he's drinking. And the cop says again, it's legal. Leave him alone. So that, and the management Outback is extremely gun friendly. They apologized to me. I said, wasn't me that was the fool, it was him.
Well, I mean, people
would you
don't
yell at somebody about you got it, and you're so scared to see a gun? Would you yell? I just got.
Well,
up
there
and
was
leave.
the guy in Florida that tackled the guy with the gun, and he had to have the. I swear that man had testicles of steel.
Because I tell you, if
jump on the
somebody
man with
tries
a gun.
tackling me, it's not going to be nice.
Yeah, when I first started carrying, I open carried into a Publix, and the off-duty cop who was running security came up and stared at it.
What about the Kroger's that you went in and they walked around and followed you?
The store manager followed me around the whole place. I went into Sweet Tomatoes on Barrett Parkway, and I was carrying my .50 caliber Glock, and I had accidentally bent in such a way that everyone's looking at me funny here for some reason. Really, Mark? You want to make a bet?
There is such a thing as a .50 caliber Glock.
Do you want to make a bet? We can bet lunch, talking about food.
Are you going to buy lunch?
No.
If
I'm biting my tongue.
He'll bite his tongue.
Remember, Google's my friend.
And he's going to Google it, folks, see if there really is such a thing as the fabled .50 caliber Glock.
Oh, I take it back. There is one, but
the sputtering, I love it.
So anyway, Sweet Tomatoes.
This is almost as good a reaction as I get when I talk about my 9mm SIG P220. Anyway, so I was in Sweet Tomatoes, and it's a very large gun. It's bulky. So when I had turned, my cover shirt got tucked over it, and I ended up open carrying at Sweet Tomatoes on Barrett Parkway the entire meal until finally I was walking out the door, and a guy's like, dude, your Glock's hanging out. Oh, okay. And nobody said anything. Nobody approached me. No one did anything. It was no big deal.
One of our members was at Home Depot in Buckhead. His name is Teeter, and Mike Lancaster. He told me one day he's walking through Home Depot, and this guy goes, "Sir, sir," and Mike figured there's something wrong. And then the guy asked, "What are you carrying?"
It's awesome.
I've open carried in every Kroger stores. Publix never give me a hard time. Sam's Club, Walmart. For one time at Sam's Club, when I first joined Sam's, the security guard said to me I wasn't allowed to open carry there, and I said, "Excuse me, I think you're wrong." So I went home very nicely. He was very polite, and I called corporate. They called that store, and I got a phone call. Please come back, and they gave me a $25 gift card for my inconvenience. And he was so apologetic. He honestly made a mistake. And I said, honest mistakes.
I've open carried in the Walmart in Rome, the new Walmart, not the old Walmart. Anyone who lives in Rome knows the difference.
The new Walmart in Rome is at least 15 years old now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not
More
that
than
new.
that.
I open carry in every Walgreens, CVS, never have any problems.
So let me ask you, since you open carry all the time, how many times have you been targeted and shot first in order to take you out?
Never.
Never. He had to think about it for a minute.
And my gun's never jumped out and gone off by itself.
On that note, I think we'll go to our commercial break and come back with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Folks, you're listening to GeorgiaCarry.org radio. We'll be right back.
And now, back to GeorgiaCarry.org radio with Doug and Jesse King.
Welcome back, everybody. We're in our final segment, and you know what that means. It's time for Jesse's Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
And it's not me in a swimsuit this week. So anyway, I was doing some research this week, and I found where President Obama has actually done something decent for once. I almost had a heart attack. Applause for the only black guy on the list of white guys, right? he has announced that restrictions on distribution of military-style equipment to police from federal government. So basically...
But the Marietta Police Department needs an aircraft carrier.
Ha ha ha.
Or a Harrier.
A Harrier. They've already got that thing. That
The deer stand?
Yeah, that I think I've...
Oh, yeah, they have one over in Phipps Plaza.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the riders to just push it over with people in it. But anyway, this will apply to any military-style weapons that they previously received from the federal government. So basically, they're not going to get any more armored vehicles on tracks like tanks. No more weaponized aircraft or vehicles. No more firearms or ammo over 50 caliber. No grenade launchers, bayonets, or camouflage uniforms.
Okay, so I've got my tinfoil hat on right now, and I'm thinking, is this because they don't want to give military-grade equipment to police departments that might oppose the federal government at some point?
Yes.
No, I don't think that's it completely.
I totally believe that.
I think that it is... We have a nation of division, racial division.
Only because of our president.
There was some of it before our president.
I think there might have been some before.
I'm not forgetting about the riots in L.A.
Yeah, well, we don't forget a lot of things.
They were over police brutality as well.
And shall we go the other way and see how many times a police officer lately has gotten ambushed for no reason?
This is true, and that's very unfortunate. But at the same time, we have a culture of violence right now. And we have...
Not by concealed carry people. I just want to throw that out there.
No, it's there's a lot of police versus the public. And it's not just a black thing. It's a white thing, too. There's white people getting ambushed by cops as well. But I think a lot of it feeds into our media.
I like that.
A lot of it is our media publicizing.
Oh, our media is so biased, it's unbelievable. I have a sticker in the back of my car that says, I don't believe the liberal media.
Well, most of the media is liberal media, except for right here. You can find the truth right here, and it'll set you free.
I believe the liberal media's coupons.
I love the liberal media's coupons. I love those buy one, get one free coupons. Just the best. Okay.
I like Kroger's coupons, so you can do it on your smartphone.
And,
there you go.
And you can carry into Kroger and,
Yes.
and tick off the Moms Demand Action.
Yes, they
witches.
boycotted the one there in I went there. They were gone by the time I got there, though.
Too bad, because I would have loved to go in and buy a dozen eggs and throw it at them.
They boycotted our convention 2 years ago.
Oh.
They picketed us. They came in. They wouldn't respond to any honest answer that some of the smarter people asked them. I just sat there and laughed at them.
See, I would be so tempted to go get some poster board of my own.
I'm with stupid.
And no, I demand common sense from these dumb witches and stand there and hold it. But the bad.
So there's the good.
The bad is UPS. The bad comes from UPS. And I've always been a big fan of UPS's shipping company. They're the world's largest package delivery service. And they handle about 15 million packages daily.
Love the unions.
They got a great union, and the pay's good over there.
Who needs a union?
But anyway,
got to keep those mobsters in business somehow.
Apparently, it's Teamsters. It really is kind of mafia related.
It is mafia.
So anyway, they're stopping carrying shipments of firearm suppressors.
I think the actual thing that UPS said when they were asked to carry a suppressor was forget about it.
Now we can use FedEx though.
No, FedEx will not ship firearms. I've worked for FedEx for 10 years.
But they will ship machining parts.
Right.
No, yes, you can ship it in parts, but you cannot ship it completely. And I don't believe you could ship a suppressor. I'm pretty sure that any of those Class 2, Class 3 type things.
Jesse, it's not a suppressor. It's a muffler.
It's a muffler. Got you.
Remember, they will ship all sorts of mufflers. Corvette mufflers, Mustang mufflers, 1911 mufflers.
So
Lock
this
mufflers.
even applies to ones that are registered to somebody or dealer to dealer. They're not even doing dealer to dealer.
I wouldn't ship a suppressor unless I was a business. Yeah, a regular person is not going to do it. They're going to go to their.
Yeah, and I but you see, the thing is,
well, there comes times when you might need to ship it. Say you want to.
I don't think a civilian can do that.
Well, what if you're going to hunt with your suppressor in a place where
Alaska,
you have to travel through another country to get there? You'd want to ship it to Alaska.
Well, we can hunt here in Georgia.
You cannot hunt Kodiak bears in Georgia.
Yeah, yes, you can.
Not Kodiak bears.
I've seen a Kodiak bear.
Where, a zoo?
Yeah.
We're not allowed to hunt at the zoo.
You can't hunt in the zoo either, Mark.
I don't hunt.
So when you need a good defense attorney, you need to call Mark,
Yes.
Doug King here, Mark. Because
I'm a vegetarian by proxy. I eat cows.
That's Doug at kingslawoffice.com, Mark. So
Can you say that
time-
again, please?
Yeah, Doug at Kings, Kings lawoffice.com.
and if he's fed up with your junk, try Jesse at King's Law Office because I'll
Or
email you.
just call me, 678-485-9963.
God.
I have you my speed dial.
So when you decide to shoot a bear at the zoo,
I'm gonna catch
Oh my
flack for
gosh.
this one. I can see it on our
you know, I was
website.
Oh, yeah.
going to go on to the ugly, but that was pretty ugly idea there.
Now, mind you, I don't hunt.
Thank goodness.
I know. I have nothing against hunting. It's not for me.
Well, some people people don't mind seeing the life drain out of a deer's eyes. I'm one of those people.
I'll eat it, but I cannot.
Kill it and grill it, Mark. Anyway,
Yeah,
so the
I
ugly.
The ugly. We're on to the ugly.
Boy, that was ugly.
And the ugly this week is a picture of Hillary Clinton. She sure is ugly, but we're on to the real ugly. Apparently, Representative Mike Thompson, Democrat, 5th District, California, won the Top Gun at the Congressional Sportsman Foundation's annual shooting event.
Woohoo! Now that sounds good.
But then he said that he hoped for more gun control.
That sounds bad.
So I'm saying, all right, moron. That's kind of a double standard if I've ever seen one.
Guns are only for shooting competitions, not for standing up to the government.
That's like
pretty ugly. I mean, you'd think that somebody who has
like
put in...
sponsoring a cookout event and then like
It's like
talking
sponsoring...
to PETA about it later.
It's like sponsoring an all-you-can-eat and then turning around and talking about Weight Watchers.
Jenny Craig.
Jenny Craig, yeah. I mean, it's counterintuitive that you think someone who would invest the time to become proficient and be able to win a competition would. Yes, I got a question from the corner.
Did that senator, I forget his name, did he ever reach out to you to get his training?
Oh, you're talking about Dexter Sharper?
Yes, did he have?
No,
Yeah.
we haven't heard
What a
anything from
hypocrite.
him.
Not yet. I'm going to hunt him down, though.
You know, I'm kind of wondering how
Not like a
long
bear
he's
at
had
the
his
zoo.
permit, and has he himself broken the training restrainment time
I'm sorry,
on
but,
his own proposed bill?
Because if somebody's a fool, they meant to make all that's gun owners fools.
You know, this is it. We got to get a hold of Dexter Sharper. I'm going to hunt him down like a bear in the zoo and get him in training.
I'll never live this down.
No.
I will never live this down.
You know, we're getting him for Christmas, the Kodiak bear.
So, folks, you know, if you want to have fun like we're having, you really need to be a member of GeorgiaCarry.org.
I'm a lifetime member.
The best way to join is to get your friends to buy you a lifetime membership. But the second best way to join is to go to the website and click in the top left corner.
Now, we have a lifetime member sitting here. Tell us a little bit. How much does that lifetime membership cost?
It's $500. But our year, if that's if you want to become a lifetime member, our yearly membership is now $20, which breaks down to $1.67 a month. If you buy one pizza, you already could have paid for your yearly membership. Look what Georgia Carry has done for us.
It was like Jerry Henry told us. He said he quit buying his Mountain Dew and buy a membership with it.
Right? It's we've done more for the law-abiding citizens in Georgia. Remember, without the second, you don't have the first.
So go to GeorgiaCarry.org, top left-hand corner, click Join Now, $20 for the year, $500 for your entire life. If you don't have internet access, then you're probably listening to us right here in Atlanta, and you should go to one of the local Atlanta gun shows.
Yeah, most gun ranges have our brochures there. You can mail a check-in or do it online. If you can't get online, you can mail a check-in.
You can also visit one of the local chapter meetings, and you can go online.
Everybody's invited.
Or you can just hunt down Mark Gilbert on the street corner, and he can sign you up right there.
Now,
If you see a Honda CRV, it's red and has a Fight Crime Shoot Back on the back, that's me.
Now, if you want to contact Doug and I, you can email us at radio@georgiacarry.org. That's radio@georgiacarry.org. Send us in your questions, and we'd love to put some of those on the air.
Or if you want to get us on your local station. If you're listening to us online or downloading this from the GeorgiaCarry.org website, you need to get us on your local station. Call your station manager and say, I want to hear GeorgiaCarry.org radio on your station live each week. And they can reach out to us at radio@georgiacarry.org. Tell us who the manager you talk to. We'll reach out to them. We'll get us on your local station. That way you can save your data plan.
And if you would like to connect with GeorgiaCarry.org on Facebook, you can do that as well, along with GeorgiaCarry.org radio. There is a Facebook page for Georgia.
I have a page there. I just can't get it to show. I mean, unless I type it in.
Well, that's inconvenient.
I know. I go search and then pull up and see what there. But I love this. I love this show.
Mine just feeds it right through. Of course, we kind of host it. We're admins for it, so.
So, it's been fun having you on, Mark, and we appreciate all the great things you say about us and all the boosting you've done. We're glad that you were able to come and talk about all of these fine restaurants. Folks, listen to the show again. Take some notes on where you should be eating and carrying this week, and support some local businesses that support GeorgiaCarry.org. This is, our passion and our love in all of this, and we would like to see more people get involved, join up, get involved, do something good this week, and we will be back same time, same station next week or online. You're listening to GeorgiaCarry.org Radio.
This has been GeorgiaCarry.org Radio with Doug and Jesse King. GeorgiaCarry.org is Georgia's no-compromise voice for gun owners. Tune in each week for valuable information on protecting your Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms. GeorgiaCarry.org Radio, Saturday mornings at 8, right here on News Talk 1160, the talk of the town.